So I'm going to read a couple of tweets to you guys from this man who has a Jamaican and I think that is a Dominican flag. At first I thought it was the Panamanian flag. Whatever it is, it ain't a United States flag, okay? So he has these flags next to his name and he's responding to all of this birthright citizenship stuff that we're going to get into momentarily. So he said, before birthright citizenship was an immigration issue, it was a black issue. It was a fight for our right to belong in the very country we built. This isn't just a policy shift, it's a message. So I'm confused because this man is not ADOS, FBA, Black American, African American, whatever y'all want to call it. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? This man was not in the country when birthright citizenship was a black issue as opposed to being an immigrant issue. Yet he just said it was a fight for our right to belong in the very country we built. You did not build the United States of America. Like, what are we talking about here? Your family wasn't even here at this time, right? But I have to address this because something I've noticed a lot of is people trying to rope Black Americans into their issues, right? And yeah, we're going to discuss this in a bit of depth. So first, let's talk about what the 14th Amendment actually is, because something I've noticed about people on the internet, just period, whether it's about this or not, right? People tend to just chat. Like, they don't actually know what is like going on or what they're even talking about. They just talk, right? So the 14th Amendment was passed on June 13th, 1866. Now that date should stick out to you. 1866, that's like very close to the end of slavery, right? So that should give you some hints about what the 14th Amendment is about, okay? So the 14th Amendment was actually a key part of the Reconstruction Amendment. So I'm sure we're all wondering, what the heck is that, right? Well, the Reconstruction Amendments are a set of 3 constitutional amendments, the 13th, 14th, and 15th, adopted between 1865 and 1870 in the aftermath of the American Civil War. These amendments aim to establish legal equality for formerly enslaved African Americans, okay? So that gives us some context as to what these amendments are actually about, right? Now, we know that in America, there was a very huge issue with white folks pretending that Black Americans were not American citizens, right? Like the 3/5 compromise was a very big part of that, because white people were going back and forth about whether slaves should be counted as a part of their population when it came to voting purposes or not, right? And some people were saying, well, no, they don't get to vote, so why should they be counted, right? Like, you just trying to use them to plump up your numbers so your vote can mean more, right? So the compromise that they came to was to consider African Americans as 3/5 of a person, right? So we don't count for a full, person to pump up your numbers in the voting, issues, right? But we count somewhat, right? So this is all a part of American history, and this was addressed during Reconstruction, right? Because, again, this is about African Americans, the people who were formerly enslaved here. How are we not considered citizens of this country when, one, we've been here longer than most white people? Most of their families just immigrated here in the early 1900s and stuff, right? And then also, we built this motherfucker, right? So that's what the 14th Amendment is about, okay? It was never about people coming here and having kids and they kids being considered citizens even though they themselves are not. Now, I'm not going to use the term anchor baby. I used to use that term, but I'm trying not to, right? But realistically, that's what we're talking about here, right? And logically, that doesn't make sense. Like let's take America out of it, right? Why would your child be considered a citizen of a country you're not even a citizen of? So you telling me if I get pregnant, I can go fly to some random country, have my kid there, and my kid is a citizen? That doesn't make any sense, right? And the fact is, a lot of countries won't let you do that. They require that at least one of your parents be a citizen in order for you to be a citizen, right? But for some reason, y'all think that the United States should just let anybody come plop a baby out and their baby is a citizen. That doesn't make any sense. This is the reality. A lot of you all have been taking advantage of the 14th Amendment. That's the truth, right? Because the 14th Amendment was literally passed for the descendants of those who were enslaved here and unjustly not considered citizens, right? It wasn't for your ass in 2025 to come and plop a baby out and your baby just somehow is automatically a citizen even though your ass is not. Like, that doesn't make any sense, right? But this gets us to an issue. A lot of people, not just black immigrants, like this dude has the Jamaican and whatever flag next to his name, right? A lot of people do this same exact thing as it pertains to African Americans, right? Y'all will sit there and benefit from something that's actually supposed to be about us, right? And somehow it becomes about you. It's not even about us anymore. And this is something that I've spoken about a lot. And it irritates me, right? Because, for example, as a black American, there are no college scholarships that are solely for black Americans, right? If you're trying to get some money for college, guess what? You're not going to find anything that's for ethnic black Americans. But you know what you will find? You'll find plenty of scholarships that are specifically for different types of immigrants. You'll find a lot of Hispanic and Latino immigrant scholarships. You'll find a couple like African and Caribbean immigrant scholarships, and you'll find a lot of just general immigrant scholarships, right? And my point is this, right? My point is this. As an African or a Caribbean, right? Y'all can apply to those scholarships that are for Africans and Caribbeans specifically, and y'all can apply to those immigrant scholarships, and guess what? Y'all also apply to those black scholarships that are supposed to be for black Americans, right? So you get to take something that's supposed to be for black Americans and make it about you, right? And black Americans, we just have to suffer because you got your hand in the shit that's supposed to be for us, but we can't put our hand in your shit, right? And this is my point. This is the point that I'm bringing. The 14th Amendment was never fucking about you. It was about black Americans. But somehow it became about whoever coming over here and plopping a baby out and suddenly their child is a citizen, even though, again, that's never what it was actually about. Now, let's get back to this man's tweets talking about before birthright citizenship was an immigration issue, it was a black issue. It was a fight for our right to belong in the very country we built. You got a Jamaican and a Dominican or whatever flag next to your name, and you talking about our right to belong in the very country we built. Mind you, your parents probably just came here in like the early 2000s, right? So what are you talking about, right? But this is something that also needs to be called out. You all will become international super spies, right? So you attempted to step into black Americanness to get us riled up and think that this is about us, right? You're talking about, oh, this is a fight for our right to belong in the very country that we built. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, right? Now, don't get me wrong, right? Yes, the 14th Amendment was initially about black Americans, right? And the fact that we, were not considered citizens of this country, even though we very well should be, right? But it was never about no damn Jamaicans. It was never about no damn, whatever this flag is, right? So how did you just attempt to try to make this about you? But this is something that I've spoken about before. A lot of you all will step into and out of black Americanness, right? So you got these flags next to your name. Clearly your ass ain't black American. But suddenly when ICE is knocking at your door, you saying black Americans, this is about us. This is about us. This is about, us in the country we built and so and so and so. You'll step into that black Americanness when you find that there is something that you need or there is something to be gained. The 14th Amendment has nothing to do with Jamaicans. It has nothing to do with Dominicans or Panamanians or whatever that other flag is, right? So why are you trying to pretend that it somehow does? And you're trying to manipulate black Americans into believing that this is our fight when quite frankly, it is fucking not, right? So let's get into some of the comments, right? Somebody commented, they was like, tell it on your way back to your third world country. We don't care. And he said, my country is the U.S. I was born here, so I'm not going anywhere. Well, clearly that shit ain't true because, you got these flags next to your name. So, what are we talking about here? Because if I'm going to have a flag next to my name, it's going to be a U.S. flag. It ain't going to be a Jamaican flag or a Dominican or Panamanian flag, right? So, clearly there's something different here. And clearly, if you worried about birthright citizenship getting taken away, then yeah, your ass might be going somewhere, right? So, again, what are we talking about, right? But again, y'all are constantly trying to use black Americans for your own gains. This don't have nothing to do with us. Why are you pretending that it does? So I can't see what the other person said, but this guy replies, he says, GTFOH, that means get the fuck out of here. I'm an American citizen, so I'm not going anywhere. If I gotta go, then you gotta go. Well, clearly that's not true because again, you posting about this birthright citizenship thing, that puts you in danger because clearly neither of your parents is American, right? And then, again, why are we pretending that you're the same as black Americans? This also confuses me because my thing is this, right? If I went somewhere in the Caribbean, right, and say I had kids there and we lived there or whatever, right? I'm not the same, and my kids aren't the same as an actual like Caribbean person whose roots are there, right? So why would I act like they are, right? So why are you sitting here acting like you the same as a black American, or that we are in the same position in America or anything like that? Like, what are we talking about here? So somebody then said pack up, and he said to the Bronx, sure. And I'm confused because them is not Bronxian flags by your name. Like, that's a Jamaican flag. That's a Dominican flag. Them is whole other things, babuki. Like, what is we talking about, right? And this is again why I'm confused. This is why I'm confused, right? Because I'm not Jamaican American. I'm not Dominican American. I'm not Caribbean American. I'm not any of that shit. I'm American American, right? So why are you constantly trying to pretend that I'm not really American like your ass, right? Because this is my thing. Nobody ever sits there and says that Jamaicans in Jamaica aren't really Jamaican because, well, they wasn't the first people in Jamaica. There's natives there. They only Jamaican because of slavery, so. Oh, yada, 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 right? Y'all don't never do that with Jamaicans or any other type of Caribbeans, even though they became Caribbean in the same way, in the same capacity that I became American, right? But you'll sit here and tell me that I'm basically a fucking immigrant in America. How, Sway? What sense does that fucking make? It's like when y'all be sitting around talking about America was built by immigrants. What are you talking about? No, it was not, right? And then y'all are saying, oh, well, since you're not a Native American, you're an immigrant in America. But you'll never call yourself an immigrant in Jamaica, though, right? Even though you got to Jamaica the same way I got to America. But you'll sit here and play in my face with that dumbass shit. Because, again, y'all stay being disingenuous and fucking honest. Now, let me read something to you all from an MSNBC article about this whole birthright citizenship thing. On the first day of his second term in office, President Donald Trump issued an executive order redefining citizenship to exclude the children born in the United States to parents who lack legal immigration status. So this is not even about people whose parents are immigrants, period. It's about people whose parents are illegal immigrants, right? So then this is my thing, right? First of all, what does this have to do with black Americans, period, right? But then this is the next thing, right? You all could have an honest discussion and say, hey, like clearly he's targeting immigrants of a certain color. Because mind you, Donald Trump ass is barely an American citizen. His wife, not even an American citizen. And he, don't he have parents or grandparents who came from wherever, right? Like, y'all could have an honest discussion and say, okay, clearly this is going to end up targeting, black people and, Misuse Hispanics and stuff, of immigrant backgrounds, right? And of course, these same people who are targeting us are anti-black, and they're going to try to target black Americans in other ways. So y'all might as well help us try to fight against them, anyway, right? Y'all can have an honest conversation, but sitting here pretending that I'm a fucking immigrant or that my parents are fucking immigrants or that we at all in any way have the same standing in this country is just not true. And I don't get why you all are constantly being disingenuous about the fucking topic. Because bottom line, end of the day, bitch, I'm undeportable. Okay, so why are you sitting here trying to pretend that I am? They're coming after you next. First of all, bitch, they been after me. See, your ass is confused because you just got here and you immediately started dick sucking the powers that be as soon as you got here, right? So all y'all talking about, well, black Americans, if you don't help us, they're coming for you next. Bitch, they been coming for me, and you knew that shit, which is why as soon as you got over here, you started dick sucking white supremacy in this white supremacist system, because you figured if black Americans are at the bottom, you don't got to be at the bottom, right? But now that your ass is in trouble, suddenly black Americans, we have to stick together. Huh? I'm confused by the fact that y'all have never tried to stand with black Americans or help us with our issues or anything, right? Whenever the topic of reparations gets brought up, all of y'all, right? Whether you're a black immigrant or not, whether you're African or Caribbean or a mestiza Hispanic or Asian or whatever, all of y'all are against reparations, for example, right? You all have never had the best interest of black Americans at heart ever. Quite literally ever. Y'all use this as a scapegoat. Y'all use this as a rung on a ladder in your attempt to climb up it and get a better positioning for yourself in the system of white supremacy, right? But now that you're scared that ICE might come knocking in the middle of the night, now suddenly it's, oh, black Americans, oh, we in this together. This might affect you too. What? The switcheroony is what's offending me. That's what's offending me. Bitch, this is my thing. This is my thing. Don't come crawling back to me when you need my help, right? Stand on big business, okay? You burned that bridge. There is no coming back. So, bitch, figure it the fuck out and leave me out of it. For real.